Good evening everyone, welcome back to Mo Time, hosted by Evergreen Lawn and Gardens. My name is Ben and I hope you're off to a fantastic year in 2021. Now I said good evening, so today's video, or tonight's video as I should say, is definitely not on anything to do with mowing, brush cutting, chainsawing, hedging or anything like that, because obviously it's 8 o'clock here at night in Brisbane and we will be in a lot of trouble for making a lot of noise at this time of night. But tonight is going to be a video on something I've wanted to do for you guys for a while now, well basically since COVID has kicked in, and that is to show you how to make a simple indoor garden at your place. And this little exercise and activity is really good for, you know, in this current environment. A lot of people are stuck at home, have lost their jobs, are losing their mind, etc., and they just need something to do that will tie them over and keep you mentally well and mentally strong, you know, and do a little something you can keep on your table or on your coffee table or on your bedside table, wherever you'd like to keep it. So so today I'm going to take you through how to create your own little indoor plant garden and that. So let's get into it. So in front of me I've got a glass bowl. Now before I go on, let me just say a lot of my videos I tend to talk about doing things on a budget, just generally because there are people who, you know, want to do things, and especially have lost their job and are now working on a bit of a tight budget. These are just really cheap, simple things for you to enjoy doing yourself at home and not having to outlay a lot of money to do so. So with that in mind, I'll take you through what I have right here for our little home project, and how cheap the things are to attain. So first of all, you need a glass bowl or some sort of pot that you want to use for your indoor feature. Now you can go plastic or glass, it doesn't matter. Plastic's generally better, obviously, because it's not as heavy, it can't smash, and then, you know, if you've got children, that's a bit of an issue, and also it is easier to put drain holes in a plastic pot, and also less costly than a glass one. But I've just gone with the glass one today because I bought it some time ago. So this pot only cost me $15 just from the local discount store. They do sell these pots in different shapes and sizes, ones that you can hang up from somewhere and ones that you can just place on a table and use them as a feature there. So yeah, only $15 for this. Now what you require for doing this little indoor garden is obviously some soil. So we've got some soil here. I've already sort of half filled my pot already, just so I didn't take the time to fill the whole thing. So yeah, I've got some soil here. And now, depending on what you plan on planting in your indoor pot will depend on the type of soil you need. So if you're doing something like succulents or cactus or anything like that, then you need a well draining soil. Now most of your nurseries nearby will have the required soil like that specifically for you know, cactuses and succulents as such, but it just needs to be a very well draining soil, not a very thick soil. So yeah, in my case, we don't really have succulents here today. I'm just going with general small sort of indoor plants, and we'll go through them in a minute. But yeah, I've just got some general garden soil, which has got a bit of organic mix, is still a bit of a sandy based soil, so it still allows for that good drainage, yet sand doesn't break down as fast as, you know, your composted soils or your easily drained soils. So yeah, so you can definitely add something like sand or grit or something like that to your soil just to create a better draining soil, if you don't have that already. So yeah, that's the sort of soil. But of course, like I said, depending on the plants you're choosing to put in your pot will depend on the type of soil you need to put in there. But regardless, the pot needs to have drain holes. One of the biggest problems I've come across myself personally I learned, and other people who have come to ask me about them, is not good enough drainage. And the problem with not good enough drainage is you water them, and obviously being an indoor plant, they're not going to get as much extreme heat and sunlight as a plant outside, dealing with different weather conditions. So the moisture and the water when you water them does not soak up or evaporate as fast. And in that case, you can end up having too wet a soil and end up what's called as root rot, which is basically rotting the roots of the plant and killing it. And that is the most common cause, because people see their indoor plants dying off and think, oh my gosh, what do? I know what it needs. I need to water it more, must need a drink. And they'll keep feeding it, keep watering it, and you end up just, it's not what it needed. It was most likely in the wrong position or something like that, or maybe the wrong soil choice when it was first made, but they overwater it, and then more water sits there, doesn't drain correctly, and again you end up with root rot. So yeah, so avoid that. But yeah, good draining soil is what you need. Now next, with the sort of finishing touches on top of your thing, there's a few different ways you can finish it. I'm just going with a little fine mulch here. That's really fine. Obviously this is a very small area. It's only sort of 30 centimeters in diameter, so you need a really small hoop fines bark, this is called, and it's only 10 to 15 mil wood chips, so really small, really good for this area, and whatnot. Now what I've also picked up here as well, now this was literally, sorry, I should talk about the soil. The soil, dollar-wise, in Australian dollars, this is only a couple of bucks basically. You can go to your landscape yard, and in all honesty, all the landscape yards I've been to, if you're just requiring like a bag like this much, they'll literally just give it to you for free. They can't really charge you for like 3 handfuls of soil. It's not how it works. So so you can just go to your yard and just ask for some samples of soil, and they will give you some samples and some bags to grab, and that's really all you need. Now with the mulch too, now this mulch is about $110 a cubic meter in Australian dollars, and again, my landscape yard knows me quite well, and they are more than happy to just accommodate and just be like, yep, just go and grab what you need. And again, obviously that's $110 for a cubic meter, and I needed 3 handfuls. So again, they can't give you $1 fee charge on something that small. So again, they'll just let you grab that. If you don't have a landscape yard near you, and you just have something like Bunnings or Mitre 10 or something like that here in Australia, then you can just buy a bag of mulch, buy a bag of soil that comes in the pre-bagged packs for like, $15 to $25, and just pull out what you need and put aside what you don't, or utilize it elsewhere with more pots, or even make 2 or 3 of these to place around the home, one in the bedroom, one in the living room, one on the dining room table, or one on the hallway entrance to your house. So they are lovely wherever they end up. They're a nice thing to look at. So yeah, so that's the mulch. And like I said, whatever you got left over, spread out, utilize in your garden. So next, again, this is your own preference, and this is the beauty of making this sort of thing. You can choose what sort of design and what sort of finish and look you want on top. I've just gone next with some white little 10 to 15 mil pebbles, just because I like white and I like the black and white sort of look, even though the mulch is brown, but I just like the dark to white look sort of thing, so I'm gonna go with that. But again, it's a personal preference. You can do whatever you would like to do. You can even try all different things and see what you like. But yeah, I've gone with these, and these little petals literally cost me $3 from Bunnings. So free, $15, $3 for the pebbles. They were from Bunnings, and then yeah. And of course you need some plants. So again, like I said, it depends on what you choose for your plants, depends on what soil you get. But yeah, there's a number of options to go with with indoor plants. Now, just in saying that, bear in mind there's not a giant amount of options to go with something in such a low depth. But when you're planting something like this pot next to me or bigger, then obviously you've got a much more variety, because you need a bit more of a area surface for root growth and everything, particular indoor plants. But for my little ones today, they will be absolutely fine. So what I've got here is a Syngonium. It's just a little small indoor plant. It can have sort of half light, half not, and yeah, starts pretty small. But yeah, Syngonium, that one's called. And this one next, we've got Fertonia. Again, a little nice little plant that'll sort of spread out and grow up a bit. But yeah, nice and little, super simple. I just like the color combination and the little leaves, how they're white and green on there, as you can see. And also, sorry, I'll show you the Syngonium. Beautiful as well. It's got like this pink on one side and green sort of ones on the other. And yeah, the other one is the Peperomia, and that's sort of like a mint looking plant, but yeah, just grows straight up basically, but lovely as well. So that's them, and these literally cost me like $3.70 each. So again, super cheap, and again, a really cheap product to do at home if you are bored or going crazy or just want to find a new hobby to do. So yeah. So let's get stuck into it, okay? So like I said, I've half filled my pot already. So first things first is putting your soil in. So if you don't have holes in the bottom of your pot, that is okay. It's just probably a good practice to put some rocks or pebbles down the bottom first, just to create that first layer of pebbles, which creates better drainage before you put your soil in. Now don't get me wrong, if it's a real fine soil, the soil will seep through the rocks, but at least the rocks will be there somewhat to create some sort of drainage. But again, that also goes back to be careful not to overwater your pot if you don't have drainage holes in the bottom. If you bought a pot that doesn't have drainage holes, try and find a drill or something like that that you can pierce through and drill some holes in the bottom of it. Obviously not a glass one, because that wouldn't work out. You'll crack it and say goodbye to your pot. If it's a plastic one, no dramas at all. If you don't have a drill, you can just use a Phillips head screwdriver or a flathead and just try and pierce through it with that, or anything sharp like a pair of scissors on the pointy or something like that. So yeah, let's get stuck into the first step, and that is putting your soil in. All right, get the soil in. I can open this up. Normal person, there we go. Put that in now. There we go. Trying not to spill too much or damage the marble table, or my wife will kill me. So let's spread that out. Now, the soil that was already there, I've already compacted it down. So just remember, when potting, you need to compact the soil down a bit. You don't need to really squish it down. It just needs to be compacted to stop it just sinking over time once it gets watered. So that's it. Make sure it's nice and level. There we go. All right, mulch over. I'll just bring this forward so you might be able to see a little bit better. Now, I've just gone with 3 plants today just to fit this little pot. It's not a big one, so you don't want to, I mean, you can pile heaps in there and make it sort of, you know, no space to see anything, but just keep in mind you need to know how big each plant is going to grow. Obviously, if you plant too many trees or too many plants close to one another and they're going to grow big, then that's not good. They're just going to fight for the water and the nutrients that's left, and all of them are probably not going to do so well and not be friendly. So I've just gone with 3 today. What I normally do is, when planting, if you saw my previous garden makeover, is you would have seen me place the pots out in the areas you want and just give them a little bit of a turn, and that makes an indent in the soil as to where they're going to go. So when you take them away, you know back where the hole needs to be, where you need to dig. So I'm going to go roughly around there. So again, we just make a little turn, little indent there. Make a little indent there, and turning for our third little indent. And as you can see, beautiful. Now, this is really small, so obviously you don't need any sort of digging contraption. If you are very worried about putting your hands in soil, then by all means put some gloves on, or find something like a knife or a little tiny trowel to create your holes. But I'm just going to use my hands because I always have, and yeah, anyway, that's just what I do. But up to you. So what I do now is create your holes. So again, I spoke about in my previous garden makeover video that I did on a front property. There was a planting guide in there to plant properly in a garden. I'll leave the link to that up here, and you can click on that and go see the finish to end on how that garden makeover worked out. The clients were super happy. If you see back what it looked like originally to where it was once I'd finished, yeah, the makeover just came out. Super happy with that one, and so were the clients. So if the clients are happy, I'm happy. So yeah. All right, so as I spoke about in that video, when you're potting a plant, regardless of how big it is or how small it is, all you need to do is create your hole, and if you're unsure that you are deep enough or wide enough, get your pot and put it in there. Now just remember to have your pot a little higher than what you want it to be, because remember there is so many mil between the soil and the soil inside the pot and your potting mix, so it will sit lower once you remove it from the pot. So yeah, we've got a little bit more to go there. Just also keep in mind too that when you pull plants out of the pots, if they're not root bound, a lot of time the soil will fall off the roots, and then you'll be left with just sort of the roots in the plant, which is okay. Don't freak out if that happens. Good practice is to take your pot out of the take your pot out of the plant. Good on you. Take your plant out of the pot over the hole. So anything that does fall off obviously falls into the hole, and you're not losing it. And now keep in mind too, the bigger pots, not this. Bigger pots will have some slow release fertilizer in it, and that's another reason for opening your pot over the hole, pulling your plant out of the pot over the hole, as those slow release pellets will fall back into the hole where the plant will utilize them. So yeah, so again, I'll recheck, and I'm pretty happy there. So what we'll do when you're pulling a plant out of a pot, you just want to give it a little bit of a squeeze. This doesn't need much because these are very tiny pots, so ideally you don't need to squeeze them, but just for educational purposes, I'm showing you that just how to do it. If you've got a plant that's being not playing ball and doesn't want to come out, then yeah, you need to give it a good squeeze around, or if you've got a shovel, give it a good tap with the shovel. But this one will come out pretty easy just because it is quite small. So out she comes, and as you can see, oh, these ones do have little fertilizer pellets in it. So I'll quickly turn that one up and in the hole. Make sure we get all the soil out, give them a tap. We'll chuck that over there, that is rubbish now. And we'll fill that one around. There we go, first plant is in. Always exciting to get the first one in, and you are underway to creating your own little indoor garden bed. Beautiful. All right, number 2. So markings over here. So we'll again dig our next hole for this fella. And again, we've already dug the hole for the first one, so we can already have a gauge on how low you need to dig for this other pot, because they're all same size pots. All right, I'm gonna go there. Okie dokie. So this one's the Synogium. We'll pop this fella in again, squeeze the pot, bringing these ones out slowly because they are very delicate and small and can snap really easily. So you just want to be more gentle with the plants that are quite small. You don't want to damage them before you even get them into the soil, because you're not creating a good start for them by damaging their roots and that. So okie dokie. Right, we are in. And number 3, we will pop right here. Shift him over a little bit. I've got a bit skew if. Good on you, Ben. And there we go. Alrighty. Pepperomia, this one. And she is last to go in. Again, there we go. Got all that out. Put that one in there. And we'll plant the last one. Now, if you haven't planted before and you're doing this for the first time, take your time. Don't rush. Planting is meant to be, well, not just planting, gardening, landscaping, mowing, hedging, whatever, anything outside is meant to be therapeutic. Some people don't find it that way, but those of you who do, it is a good way to release stress, or if you're, in these COVID times, suffering mentally from something going on, and not even COVID, if you are suffering from something mentally in your life, like depression or dealing with a loved one's death or something like that, then just doing something like this and getting out in the garden is really good for your mental health. So yeah, to make sure you stay on check of your mental health. Of course, if you are struggling really bad, make sure you seek help from a loved one or a friend, or if you're not wanting to speak to someone personally who knows you, then seek help from someone who doesn't know you. There are plenty of helplines and places to call if you're struggling mentally through these hard times. But yeah, but going back to this is a good way to help people who are struggling mentally and just need to zone out from the world around them. This is an exercise that helps do that. So yeah, 3 plants are in. We are done. And I am pretty happy with them. Make sure the soil is compacted around them just to promote good growth and for them to establish well. And it's looking pretty good. Now, in all honesty, if you wanted to just leave it like this, you could. If you like the dirt look, then that is fine. It's very natural looking. And me personally, I really like to, I've always been a big fan of greenery, bringing the greenery from outside in, and I think it's really nice to see and relaxing, something like dirt you'd normally see outside, seeing it inside your house, sitting on the table or something like that. It's just sort of a different look. And you're able to bring the landscape inside and enjoy it inside as well. And even like this, at night time in the dark where you can't see outside, you can still see some greenery inside even when the sun is down and gone. So yeah, all right, so on to the next step. Get all that, not making too much of a mess. This will be easy to clean up, get rid of those pots. So next we're going to do the mulch. So, crack this bag open. Now, again, you can see how tight the area is now that the plants are in, so you don't have a lot of room to work with. So that's why I've got such a small, fine mulch. Now this one, what is it called? Soft fall pine bark. Soft fall, that's it. Soft fall pine bark if you're after this particular mulch I'm using. And again, it's only 10 to 15 mil, so very small. I'll get out a little bit and show you it there. That's it there. Oh, never mind. So yeah, nice and small for these little tight areas. So what I'm going to do is just pull out some handfuls and start to spread them around. Now, normally, as I may have discussed in my 2 previous videos on gardening, normally when you're mulching, you need to layer a thick layer of mulch on, but you only need to do that when you're really mulching outside, because it is copping a lot more sun and a lot more heat. So the mulch is obviously there to do its job in retaining moisture and water in the root system before the sun can suck it up. But given this is an indoor plant, you don't need to go crazy with the mulch. 50 to 100 mil of mulch is generally required, but 50 to 100 mil of mulch is definitely not required in this circumstance. This is just more for decoration. So again, going back to personal choice, the way you decorate this on top is completely up to you. You can just sort of Google images, or make up your own thing in your head or whatnot, and do it. And the beauty of the small little garlands like this is if you don't like it, you can just scrape it all off the top, start again and do something new. So again, that is completely up to you. All right, looking good. Looking good. I'll just finish on the back here where you can't see. Ugh. Dropping mulch again. Never mind. All right, looking good already. There we go. All right, pretty happy with that where it is now. Now you can always just top up later, remember, if you aren't happy with it or you feel a little area needs a little bit more, then you can always top it up later. I'm happy with that where that is now though, and we can move on to the last step, which is your pebbles. All right, let's cut these open. There we go. All right, and same thing again, get your hand in there, get some handfuls out and start spreading them around. Doo doo, doo doo doo. Looking good. Oh. Doo doo doo. Oh, no. I was too sloppy with putting that out. I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to landscape stuff. There we go. So you can sort of decide again what you want to do. I'm just doing an outer rim of rocks just because I like the look of it and I'm trying something new. There's probably an easier way to do this, but this is the way I just do it because it feels more artsy than getting a shovel. I mean, you could get yourself a little trowel and pop them in, but I'm just going to do it this way. There we go. A few more there because that's not enough. Come on now. There we go. And oh, dropping them everywhere. We'll spin that fella around. Looking good. All right. I think we're almost done. Pretty happy with that. We'll fill in some of these little bare spots. There we go. There we go. There we go. We'll spin that around there, chuck that over there, chuck that over there. And like I said, just go back through and where you feel it just needs a bit more balancing out, it's a bit thicker on one side than it is on the other, or you feel like this area is encroaching a bit more, then just adjust it till it's nice and even all the way round. Alright. Alright, alright, alright. You can go there, and I feel I need a few more over there, and a few there, and there, and there. So yeah, like I was saying, great thing to do if you are in lockdown and bored, you know, and just finding something new to do and try yourself. This is it. We are currently in a 3-day lockdown here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, because we had a couple of cases come back into Queensland positive, and we had the new strain. Someone brought the new strain, well, not new strain, but new strain here into Queensland, so we have had to lock down again, and thankfully that's been since Friday, and it is, I don't even know what day it is. It's Monday. It's Monday evening here. That was on Friday, and today is Monday, so thankfully restrictions ease up a little bit tomorrow, so people can venture out again a little bit more, making sure you're wearing your masks. But anyway, yeah, so that's where we're at, and that's why I kind of wanted to do this video. The lockdown situation again here in Brisbane just sort of prompted me again to try and get this video done for you guys out there that again are stuck at home with this COVID and just struggling mentally. Like I said, I'm a big promoter for gardening, mowing, anything landscape, because it is great for mental health, and also, well, this is not great for physical health, this bit, but when you get outside and start doing some labor, it's good for your physical work as well. So very good to very good, very important to keep mentally and physically strong, especially through tough times like this. And like I mentioned earlier, regardless if it's not even COVID that you're struggling with, if it's something else personally that you're mentally struggling with, then this is really good to help you out. And man, even if you don't even own a property yourself, you know, just do bits in your rental property. You know, the owner's not gonna hate you for making their property looks better with a nice garden revamp or something like that. The beauty also of doing pots is they're not permanent. If you are concerned about doing something permanently to the place you live, or you're not allowed to do it anyway, then pots are just something you can pick up and take with you, or just chuck them out and start again wherever you end up next time. So now, one other key important thing to remember with indoor plants that a lot of people tend to forget is make sure you rotate your pot. Now, if you have one that requires, you know, full light, half light, or anything like that, whether it's artificial or natural sunlight, a lot of people tend to forget to rotate their pot. And what you'll find if you have, you know, with smaller ones like this, not as severe and obvious, but when you get to bigger plants in pots, the plant will go obviously towards the sunlight. So make sure every sort of 3 to 4 days you're rotating your pot inside, and that'll just help to balance out the growth on one side. So yeah, sun's coming in from this side, then just rotate it around like so, and that'll promote growth on this side, and now the plant will start to chase the sunlight on this side. So yeah, really important thing to remember, guys, is with your pots inside, rotate them every 3 to 4 days. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks very much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It is a big help. For those of you who have already, thank you very much for the support. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and this is the bit of the end product. I'll have a bit of a pan of it, you can see. If you have any questions or comments, just make sure you put them down in the comments and I'll get back to you when I can. Make sure you check out my other videos on the channel that are more outdoor work in the way of laying turf, how to hedge properly, and that. I've got some videos coming up on how to mow like a professional, how to edge like a professional, and a few other things for those people who are wanting to learn how to, yeah, mow professionally, cut hedges professionally, cut their edges professionally, etc. And also, if you have any videos that you'd like me to do something particular on, it can be anything and everything, just let me know in the comments below too, and I'll be able to do that for you. So yeah, hope you're staying well. I hope you've had a great start to your 2021 year. Keep positive physically and mentally, and you'll have a much better year. So yeah, take care guys, and we'll see you in the next video.